This YCN segment is brought to you by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, your local energy specialist.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide. We are here with our third segment. We continue with the NBA and moving over to the Eastern Conference, obviously to the Celtics. We'll focus on them for a little while, the offseason. There's some moves to be made, obviously, with Marcus Smart. They've got some decisions to make, some players, but for the most part, the core is intact for this year. But looking ahead to the next year, we heard some chatter over the last couple of weeks that Kyrie Irving, he's not going to sign an extension. Right. He's going to be a free agent, and there was talk that he could move on and maybe sign or play with the Knicks or another big market team. First of all, do you believe any of that, or is it just a player saying, I don't want to sign my extension, I want to wait and get as much as I can in free agency?
Yeah, I probably think it's the later there. I think Kyrie's just trying to get as much as he can in free agency. I could see him re-signing with the Celtics, but some players, they don't really like playing in Boston, right? It's just not for some people. So I could maybe see that happening. Kyrie saying, I'm going to leave. But really, I think what you said, he's just trying to get a bigger contract.
Right. I mean, because the way the NBA works with their contracts, sometimes if you sign an extension before you're a free agent, it actually hurts you.
Right.
Because then the next year, when you can be a real free agent, you can't get as much, and they have all these extender clauses and max outs and things like that. So, and also, I think once he plays a full year for the Celtics, with Gordon Hayward, as we mentioned, he'll be coming back.
Right.
I think he'll have a lot of fun, and like you said, maybe be at the top of the Eastern Conference.
I mean, if Kyrie's thinking about winning a championship and he's not going to the Western Conference, where obviously the road is very hard to the finals, he's going to see what the Celtics have with Gordon Hayward and the assets that they have. Guys like Horford, he's a veteran player, it's good to play with. I mean, obviously we saw what Kyrie and Horford did last year.
Right.
Kyrie made Horford a lot better, and their pick and rolls, they played very well together. So I think really just seeing the Celtics organization as a whole, he's going to realize it's a really good place to be, and he's going to have a chance to win a championship for years to come if he stays.
And he's the kind of guy who wants the ball in his hands. He wants to run the offense, and I think he'll have that shot in Boston just because there's not really anybody, even though Hayward is just as good as him or maybe better. I don't know how you rate them both, but he's not the premier ball handler that Kyrie Irving is, and that's part of the reason why he wanted to leave Cleveland and get out of LeBron James' shadow. So then we look at the rest of the team, and there's been a lot of talk about Jaylen Brown. He struggled in the the Eastern Conference Finals, some of the games. Not so much, trade him because he's not good, but can we get something for him and get a bigger piece? Jaylen Brown, and you maybe re-sign Marcus Smart and put him in a package for like a Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any big moves this offseason? Or is it kind of status quo for Danny Ainge, keeps his team together, maybe signs Marcus Smart and goes next year?
I think if Anthony Davis is available,
that's true.
I think he'd make that trade.
Right.
But really besides that, I think the Celtics have to be careful in terms of acquiring just these all-stars.
Right.
Just because they're all-stars doesn't mean they're going to play well together. And Danny Ainge has done a really good job of really building this team with Brad Stevens and young players. And they've gotten Gordon Hayward, who's a mature veteran, and Al Horford, who's a mature veteran. And then they have Kyrie Irving. They just have to be careful. They just can't get crazy and get all these all-stars playing together because they're going to butt heads at some point.
And, I was kind of on the fence between the Marcus Smart thing, and now I think they need to go in for him if they can afford him. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see what he wants to take. First, they said, get rid of him. His offensive numbers aren't good, but he's so good defensively. We saw him in those series in the playoffs, and he's so good. And the fact that Terry Rozier, there was a lot of hype when Terry Rozier had a good series against Milwaukee. Then he kind of dialed it back a little bit. So I don't think he's quite ready to take on that starting role. So I say go all in on Marcus Smart. You got Hayward. Keep the core intact. Try one more year and then see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, with Marcus Smart, like you said, defensively, he is so good. I think that makes up for his offensive numbers. He fits so well into Brad Stevens' scheme. He just made so many big plays down the stretch and a ton of big games last season. If you can afford him and it makes sense, I say do it.
Yeah, lots to go here in the offseason. Obviously, the NBA draft coming up. I believe that's a week from Thursday. So next week we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we'll get into some Patriots. A curious move, canceling a couple off-season practices this week. And also we'll get into our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.